Everyone is welcome here, it's time to make new friends. Aquavide Uskava, fill your Glencairn. Share a dram with the spirit of Edmonton.
Slancha! And good evening, whiskey brothers, whiskey sisters, whiskey friends, and welcome to episode 51 of the Canadian Whisky Journey's Whiskey Review. I'm Dolph, I'm your host tonight, and we are continuing our Canadian Whisky Journey with Last Straw, right there. Last Straw's Cask Strength Rye. Now this, be precise, it says a lot. It says Cask 6 online. And I gotta say, I've reviewed their whiskey before, and I'm just as impressed as I was before. So I've reviewed this one. So this was the first cask strength. The second cask strength one was whiskey in the 6th, and this is just a wee little bit left of that one, which was fantastic. I reviewed that as well, and I love my rye. So it's fantastic. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be with you here tonight doing this cask strength rye. And a little bit of information. Let's click on one or two little pictures here if we could. So this is where they are. So Last Straw is owned by Don and his wife Anna and their friend Mike Hook, and they can be found in Vaughan, Ontario. So you can see how close it is to Toronto. And they have a place in my heart, these guys. Because I've had several discussions with Don DeMonte, and during tastings and interviews, like I've interviewed a couple times, and Don actually with Last Straw was one of the 15 distilleries that I interviewed in my inaugural Canadian Whisky Journey with Blair Phillips and Davin Nicole. So we did this book and we did some distilleries, and they were one of the very first 15. And we, in talking to both of them, they made an impression because really what could I say about them? They were genuine, they were passionate, they love what they do. And two guys and Don's wife just aching to make a statement in the whiskey world, which I liked because they did start with whiskey right away. They knew they were going to be doing whiskey. Made me happy. But that was not even as memorable as another tasting. So more memorable, I think, is the discussion I had with Don when we did this. They were called Whiskeys Gone Wild. So, and if you can see them, it's 4, 5, 6-year-old whiskeys that single casks, been in the cask. They've got some nice colors or different colors to them all. And you can see the cask strength in them all as well. And in that discussion, we realized that Don would not, even with the significant investment of time and money, because they're in the cask for 6 years, he wouldn't sell them if he didn't love them. So what was great about that conversation is we came to the end of it, and he said, I still don't know what I'm going to do with these things. Maybe I'll redistill them in the end if they can't be blended somehow and augment a blend and add to something. Maybe they would be redistilled. I hope not, because you know what? I would have bought probably 2 of them and enjoyed them. Not as much though as the 100% rye. I gotta say that's my favorite. So good job, Don. Good job anyone involved with the distilling of that. So I don't know if his boy was involved with that or not, but it's fantastic. So what we have here is with this one, it's double distilled, it's 3 years old, non-chill filtered, no color added like they always do, 60.5%, made from 100% corn that was that came from local family farms that they approached themselves. And what I was doing before is I actually had the original cask strength. So it looks like that if you remember. And the new cask strength there. And I was double fisting. And I was going back and forth to make my notes. And I do believe that if you do have something to compare it with that you know fairly well, it's really helpful in the notes in trying to decide what you get. So what I had initially, the very first time I did this one, I opened it up and the first flavors coming out of that were dill pickle. It was. And that happens to me with several American ryes, a couple Canadian ryes. I get the dill pickle. It's not a bad flavor, scent. It's not. But it was distinctive. It's not there anymore. It's gone. It's out of this one. And upon opening this, which I only did last night, not too much gone. I'm pretty happy with myself. No dill pickle at all. None. So that was my initial thought, because I thought, I'm going to taste the dill pickle. Is it lessened? Is it more intense? I wanted to see if it was there. Not there at all. What I do get is, especially in comparison to the first one, is a hint of smoke, which I didn't expect, and I don't usually expect on my ryes. And it was a welcome hint of smoke. I like it a lot. Yeah. And what I have to say with rye, and I don't know if there's a lot of avid rye drinkers out there. I love rye. It's my favorite grain. I'm the president of the Alberta Scotch Society. I know that. And I like whiskeys, but rye is the potent, just it's strong, it's effervescent, it's everything I want. But the nose is most important to me with rye. With whiskeys and scotches, I love the mouthfeel. I go for the finish, and there's so many things to check up on. But for rye, it's the nose. And this one didn't disappoint, not at all. So what I got, initially sweet. That was the very first thing I got. And then the spicy. Everyone gets sweet and spicy. Less sweet sometimes with rye, but I got the sweet and spicy. But it developed into a sweet that became caramel. And that was kind of the same as what I had with the first one way back when. Fruit, I get apricot. And I know some people will say citrus, and they're looking for citrus notes and lemon or orange peel like some European ryes. I'm not there. It's fruity, but it's not citrusy for me. And dried apricot is, I think I've nailed it. I think I have on the nose with that. And it might verge to a bit of citrus, but I think people are just getting, it's effervescent. It's got so much life coming up. I think people mistake that for citrus sometimes. Anyways, so I'm hitting with that. And then at the end of it, so you inhale, and at the end of my breath, I get a floral, woody, almost perfumey character at the very, very, very end. It seems like it might be there, and then you don't know. So this has got a lot on the nose, and you can work with this a while. Heat this up in your hand, keep it in your hand for 20 minutes, half hour, hour. Pour yourself a nice pour, watch the hockey game, and at the end of the third period, it's going to be way different than it was when you first started off. And you'll be a little bit loopy, but you'll definitely be able to tell the different scents and aromas. Now, we could do water, but I didn't want to do water with this. I just wanted to try and attack this the way I usually like to do so with the cask strength, at cask strength. So on the palate, and with the non-chill filter, it's just creamy, and I love it. And the cream coats, and it's top of the mouth, tongues, coats it all. But what I decided finally today, and it took a long time to get this final note, there's two things that I noticed with the flavor of this I like a lot. One is the flavor I think I'm getting most of is, and I don't know if it even exists, it's chocolate covered dried apricot. That's one thing. I'm thinking it's chocolate, not chocolate covered. That's wrong. Caramel covered. It's like caramel apples. The caramel covered dried apricots. So if there's such a thing, I want to have it because it tastes like this. And the other thing that I like a lot is how the interplay with the wood, with the spice and the heat, because the wood tempers the spice and the heat really, really well. And it comes together. So those two things, that tasting note for me is what I get. It's not what you're going to get on the bottle or online. That's mine. And the wood, and 3 years, but it's got the influence of the wood, and it's there. And the smoke on the nose, I'm trying to get it on the palate, and I'll work on that later, see if I can get it, but not yet. Let's go to finish. Now, it's finishes, and it's an initial heat. Bang. It's 60.5%. You're going to get initial heat. So initial heat, bang. But almost immediately, like within a half or quarter second, it goes to sweet. And then after several seconds, it goes from sweet down to the fruity character at the end. So you don't finish with heat, which you get usually, especially in a 3-year-old high test whiskey. you finish with the heat. You don't. What you finish with is the fruit and the spice at the back of the throat. And so, again, heat up front, goes to sweet. The sweet subsides later with the fruit and the spice. And it's lovely. It's fantastic. So that's it. That's all I want to say. I'm so happy about it. It's good. Well, I do want to say this right here. I do like this. So no glitz, no glamour, just good home, honest. I was going to say homemade spirits. Well, that's what I do. I didn't say that. And I think you should all have a fantastic night. Keep drinking some whiskeys. Get this at LCBO, or you get online, 1-2, or online. Go to the distillery as well. Pay them a visit. It's a nice place. $70 for a fantastic cask strength rye. You want to do that. And then join us January 14th, next installment Whiskey Book Club. I've got this gentleman right here, Ian Buxton. I've got, well, we're doing 2 books actually at once. So Whiskey's Galore. And it might be a different 101. Maybe not 101 craft and world whiskeys. It might be a different 101. It's kind of up to him, really, what we're doing. I've read them all, so it doesn't matter. Have a fantastic night, one and all. Double fist. Do that. It's going to help you out with the tasty notes. Cheers to one and all. Have a fantastic night. Merry Christmas. Slant shot. Cheers.